fight for everything that we deserve, but at the same time, like, we need to play basketball. That's what our fans crave, and that's what all of you crave as well, is you want the product on the floor. And at the end of the day, that's how you make the money, that's how you're marketable, that's what the fans get excited about, that's what the fans want to show up for. So, you know, it's business and it's a negotiation, and there has to be compromise on both sides. And, you know, so we're starting to get down to the wire of it, and it's become really important. And, you know, obviously I want to help in any way I can, and I tried to educate myself the best I can. Obviously I can't speak to every single.
WNBA fans are so excited because Caitlin Clark is finally back on the court playing basketball, and it seems like she is 100%. She is going 5v5. Team USA is currently holding their training camp. So all the ladies will be in Durham this weekend training. As you can see the roster here, Lauren Betts, Aaliyah Boston, Cam Brink, Paige Beckers, Veronica Burton, Sonia Citron, Caitlin Clark, Kalia Copper, Chelsea Gray, Brittany Griner, Dearica Hamby, Kiki Ariafen, Rakia Jackson, Brianna Jones, Kelsey Plum, Angel Reese, Juju Watkins, and...
Listen carefully to Caitlin Clark's words, because there's no ambiguity in how she frames the moment. She doesn't call this one of the biggest periods in league history. She calls it the biggest. No qualifiers, no hating, just clarity. And then she immediately shifts focus to what truly matters. Solutions, ensuring that next season actually happens. It sounds obvious, almost too basic to need saying. But Clark touches on something that often gets lost in high-level negotiations. A league that isn't playing games cannot grow. Expansion, revenue increases, fan engagement. None of it exists without games on the court. To understand the weight of her message, you have to rewind just 12 months. At this time last year, the 2024 WNBA season hadn't even begun. There were genuine questions about whether Clark's historic college dominance would translate to the professional level. Angel Reese was still an unknown at the WNBA pace. Average attendance hovered around 6,500 fans per game. Growth felt possible but far from guaranteed. Now fast forward to the present. The Indiana Fever alone averaged over 17,000 fans per game. That isn't organic growth over time, that's a seismic shift. A transformation. What makes Clark's comments resonate isn't that she's advocating for playing basketball. She's speaking to the business reality underpinning the league. The WNBA just completed the most successful season in its history. Television viewership surged by roughly 70%. New media deals totaling $2.2 billion across 11 years were finalized. Expansion franchise fees climbed to $50 million. This is the trajectory leagues spend decades chasing. Clark understands that momentum like this is rare. It's fragile, and once lost, it's incredibly difficult to recreate. Her perspective isn't anti-player. It isn't anti-progress. It's rooted in sustainability. You protect what you've built while continuing to push for what's next. Her voice carries weight because she's living proof of what's possible when opportunity, visibility, and timing align. And she's making it clear that preserving the season itself is the foundation everything else stands on.
I think there are different things that we can find ways to say, no, like, we certainly deserve that and we're not going to compromise on that, and then other things that we can probably compromise on. But like I said, like, this is the biggest moment in the history of the WNBA, and I don't want that to be forgotten. Similar, like, it's important that we find a way to, you know, play this next season, and I think our fans and even everybody that has played in this league that has come before us.
Then comes a moment that sets social media on fire. Paige Bucher steps into space next to Caitlin Clark and drills the game winner. Instantly, the clip spreads everywhere. And, predictably, critics rush in, framing it as some indictment of Clark. But that completely misses the point. This is exactly what fans want. 2 generational talents. High-level competition. No manufactured drama. No fake storylines. Just basketball at its purest. What makes the Clark-Buchers dynamic so compelling is that they arrived at the same elite level through entirely different paths. Clark entered the league under unprecedented scrutiny, carried impossible expectations, and still delivered. Buchers arrives next season with similar hype, but a different skill profile, stronger defensively, more comfortable within structured systems. Those contrasts create fascinating matchups. But zoom out, and the larger message becomes clear. This camp, these scrimmages, this footage, this is the content the WNBA desperately needs more of, not less. A work stoppage erases all of it. No games mean no highlights. No highlights mean no viral moments. No viral moments mean no new fans. The growth engine shuts down completely. And that's the real danger looming over this moment. Not just lost games, but lost momentum.
Give it up for Caitlin Clark's answer. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Caitlin. This is the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen, and it's not something that can be messed up. I feel like I have been screaming this at the top of my lungs through all of the messiness that has happened over the past 2 seasons in the WNBA. You have a moment right now in women's basketball, and specifically in the WNBA. You have a boom that we have never seen in the history of this league. Do whatever you can to not mess it up, and they've already done multiple things that is like shooting.
Then comes the hard part, the truth no one wants to confront directly. Clark acknowledges what everyone already knows. Compromise will be required. Real give and take. That's uncomfortable. It doesn't fit neatly into sound bites, but it's unavoidable. Players are pushing for legitimate improvements, full-time charter flights, higher revenue-sharing percentages, and better compensation across every roster spot. And they're right to demand it. These aren't unreasonable asks. They reflect the league's growth and the value players generate. The issue isn't whether those demands are justified. The issue is timing. What can realistically be achieved right now without triggering a work stoppage that erases the progress of the past year? Kelsey Plum offered a revealing perspective during this same camp. She described the negotiations as disheartening. She acknowledged that the two sides remain far apart. And this is happening in December, with January 9th rapidly approaching. There isn't much runway left to close a wide gap. The WNBA operates under different conditions than leagues like the NBA. The NBA can survive a lockout. Its fan base is deeply entrenched. Its financial infrastructure is massive. The WNBA doesn't have that luxury yet. This league is still laying its foundation. You don't pause construction halfway through and expect the building to remain standing. A work stoppage at this stage wouldn't just slow growth, it could reverse it. That's the risk hanging over everything. And everyone involved understands it, even if they don't say it publicly.
Playing against them. Kelsey Plum off the screen, kicks to Caitlin Clark for 3. Caitlin Clark up the court. Another 3. Caitlin Clark off the screen, another 3. Her shot looks really good. There were other photos of her going around, I feel like the past couple weeks also, saying that it looks like she dropped some of the muscle that she did gain before last season. It's hard to tell. To be honest, you guys, I'm not really like body watching.
December 2024, Durham, North Carolina. Inside Duke University's facilities, Team USA's training camp is underway. 16 of the most elite women's basketball players in the world have gathered with a single objective: preparing for the 2026 FIBA World Cup. On the surface, this looks like a routine national team camp: drills, scrimmages, chemistry building. But beneath that familiar rhythm, something far more serious is unfolding. Hovering over every workout, every conversation, and every quiet moment between sessions is an issue that could reshape the entire future of the league. The WNBA and the Players Association are locked in collective bargaining negotiations, and the deadline is unforgiving. January 9th is fast approaching. If an agreement isn't reached, the consequences won't just affect salaries or benefits. The 2026 season itself could be at risk. This isn't speculation. This isn't manufactured drama. These are real stakes, and everyone inside that gym knows it. Look at the names present at camp: Caitlin Clark, Breanna Stewart, Kelsey Plum, Angel Reese, Paige Buchers. Established champions stand shoulder to shoulder with rising stars who represent the next decade of the sport. On paper, it's an embarrassment of riches. In reality, it's a room filled with players who understand just how fragile momentum can be. What makes this camp different from previous years isn't just the talent level. It's the timing. The WNBA has never stood at a crossroads quite like this one. Growth is accelerating. Visibility is higher than ever. And yet, the foundation underneath it all still feels unfinished. What's happening during this camp extends well beyond on-court performance. The conversations in hallways, the private meetings, the discussions players are having when cameras aren't rolling. Those moments may ultimately matter more than anything captured during scrimmages. These athletes aren't just preparing for international competition. They're navigating a pivotal chapter in league history. Many of them understand that the decisions made in the coming weeks could determine whether the momentum of the past year continues forward or stalls completely. This camp represents both hope and uncertainty at the same time. It's a glimpse of what the future could look like if things go right, and a reminder of how quickly that future could be jeopardized if they don't.
You know, we had the photos last year from Media Day when she was like flexing and all that, and you could clearly see that she had put on a lot of muscle, but it's hard to tell here, so I'm not really going to comment on it. But there were some fans that were saying it looks like she dropped some of the muscle that she put on, and a lot of people were wondering if that is why she had so many soft tissue injuries during last season. But again, I don't know, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And here's another clip, you guys, of Caitlin Clark's signature 3. She's dribbling the ball up the court, goes to her left, step.
Now focus on the basketball itself, because this is exactly what fans have been craving. Caitlin Clark hasn't played in a competitive game since September 25, 2024, when Indiana was eliminated by Connecticut in the opening playoff round. That's more than 2 months without seeing one of the most electrifying players in the sport on the court. And people have felt that absence. Watch her closely during this camp. The footwork is sharp. The shooting motion is fluid. There's no hesitation in her release. No visible rust. No signs of uncertainty. All the off-season debates, whether she added too much muscle, whether that contributed to plantar fasciitis or soft tissue issues, fade into the background when you see her move like this. She looks comfortable. She looks strong. Most importantly, she looks happy. That joy matters. Players perform differently when they're relaxed and confident. And Clark appears exactly that. This footage reminds fans why the league felt different last season. Why games felt like events. Why casual viewers tuned in just to see what she might do next. This is what momentum looks like in real time.